You answer a simple question, and somehow it turns into a 5-minute explanation. You add context, background, disclaimers. You make sure they understand your tone, your intention, your reasoning. And even after all that, you walk away thinking, I should have explained that better. Why do you feel responsible for making sure no one misunderstands you? It shows up in small moments. Someone asks why you're late. You don't just say traffic, you explain the route, the timing, the unexpected delay. At work, you send long messages to avoid sounding careless. In relationships, you clarify what you meant before anyone even reacts. You rarely give short answers. Not because you love talking, but because you fear being misinterpreted. Over time, this changes how you see yourself. You begin to feel fragile, easily misunderstood, constantly on the edge of being judged. You replay conversations in your head. Did I sound rude? Did that come off wrong? Should I have added more detail? Psychologically, this pattern is often linked to high rejection sensitivity and elevated self-monitoring. Your brain is scanning for social threat, not dramatic threat, subtle threat, disapproval, misinterpretation, silent distance. So, you try to control the outcome by controlling the explanation. But here's the paradox. The more you explain, the less confident you appear. And the less confident you appear, the more you feel the need to explain. Why does your brain fall into this loop? First, you are not too much, and you are not weak. Over-explaining is an adaptation. At some point, your words weren't received safely. Maybe you were misunderstood often. Maybe your tone was criticized. Maybe your intentions were questioned. The brain learns from patterns. If simple statements led to conflict, your nervous system upgrades the strategy. It adds padding, more context, more clarity, more insurance. Over-explaining becomes emotional armor. It's not about talking more, it's about reducing uncertainty. Your brain believes, if I explain everything, there's less room for rejection. But that belief has a hidden cost, because certainty is impossible. And trying to eliminate all misunderstanding keeps you in a constant state of vigilance. So what's actually happening in your brain?
Let's break this down. Your brain has a built-in prediction system. It constantly asks, what might happen next? When you speak, your brain predicts possible reactions. If past experiences included criticism or dismissal, your prediction model becomes biased toward threat. This involves the amygdala, the brain's threat detector. If the amygdala senses potential social danger, it activates caution. That caution travels to the prefrontal cortex, the reasoning center. And the prefrontal cortex starts constructing safety. More explanation, more justification, more control. Think of it like trying to plug every possible leak in a roof before it rains. You overseal. But here's the mental model. Imagine communication as throwing a ball. A healthy exchange is you throw, they catch. Over-explaining is like holding on to the ball while explaining how you're about to throw it, why you're throwing it, and what you hope happens after. You're still in control of the ball because letting it go means letting go of control, and control feels like safety. But safety built on over-control creates exhaustion. How do you speak clearly without gripping the ball so tightly? We'll get there. This isn't about forcing yourself to be brief. That would spike anxiety. Instead, we retrain the threat system gradually. Here are 4 grounded shifts. Step 1. Separate information from intention. What to do? Before responding, ask yourself, am I adding information or protecting my intention? If it's protection, pause. Why it works. This builds metacognition, awareness of your thought process. Activating metacognition reduces automatic threat responses. It shifts control from amygdala-driven fear to prefrontal reflection. Real-life example. Someone asks why you declined an invitation. Instead of, I was tired and didn't sleep well and had a long week and didn't want to be bad company, you say, I needed a quiet night. And you stop. Notice the discomfort. That discomfort is your nervous system recalibrating. Step 2. Practice the 70% rule. What to do? Say 70% of what feels necessary, not 100%. Why it works. Your brain overestimates how much clarity is required. Research on cognitive bias shows we assume others lack context more than they actually do. Leaving 30% unsaid tests reality. Real-life example. In a meeting, you share your idea once, without immediately defending it. Let silence exist. Your nervous system learns clarity does not require excess. Step 3. Tolerate micro-misunderstandings. What to do? Allow small misunderstandings to happen without correcting them immediately. Why it works. Avoidance strengthens fear circuits. Exposure, small, manageable exposure, reduces them. Letting minor ambiguity exist teaches the amygdala that social imperfection is survivable. Real-life example. Someone slightly misinterprets your tone. Instead of rushing to correct it, you observe. Most of the time, the conversation continues normally. Your nervous system updates its threat prediction. Step 4. Reduce identity fusion with being understood. What to do? Remind yourself, being misunderstood is not a verdict on your worth. When identity fuses with perception, every interaction feels high stakes. Separating self-worth from others' interpretations reduces emotional intensity. After a conversation, you think, they might not fully get what I meant. And, instead of spiraling, you add, that's okay, I still know what I meant. That internal validation calms the nervous system. Now something interesting happens. When you explain less, people often lean in more. Not because you're performing better, but because you're signaling confidence, and confidence reduces perceived threat on both sides. Here's the model to remember. Communication is not about eliminating risk. It's about sharing responsibility. When you over-explain, you carry 100% of the emotional load. You try to prevent confusion, rejection, and tension. But healthy interaction is 50-50. You speak, they interpret. You clarify if needed, not preemptively. Think of it like breathing. If you only inhale, adding more and more words, you never exhale. Letting your sentence end is the exhale, and exhaling is what calms the body. You don't need perfect understanding. You need mutual exchange. The next time you feel the urge to add one more sentence, ask yourself, am I sharing or am I shielding? Because you don't have to manage every possible interpretation. You don't have to pad every truth. Your words are allowed to stand without scaffolding. And if someone misunderstands you, that's not failure. That's part of being human. You are not responsible for controlling every outcome. Sometimes clarity is simple, and sometimes simplicity is strength. Let the sentence end, and let yourself be enough inside it.